get after it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Get It. I'm your host, Randy Duncan, along with my co-host and producer, Jason Bryce, and of course, always my co-host, the coach, Marcus Bullock, coming to you on a Monday night after the Eagles wrapped up their season in a very controversial way. Besides that, we're going to be discussing the Sixers' hot start, top team in the NBA, Tobias Harris, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, talk a little bit about the NCAA Championship upcoming and some other things. But as always, before we get rolling, Coach, how are you tonight, sir? And Happy New Year to all.
Did you just say the Sixers are the top team in the NBA?
Yeah.
Only the top
They
team?
are the top team.
Number
Only-
one?
Only 5-1 team in the league.
Wow. They always get a round of applause for that. I don't
Yes.
know, but I'll hold on because I don't want to just be too biased. It's all right because I know Coach got some interesting points. So,
Well,
you know,
anyway, I'm doing well. Happy New Year, everybody. Doing well. Back to school today. All is good, man. Been just kind of had a couple week and a half or so off. Laid back. Didn't do a whole lot. Spent time with the family. All is good, man.
That's awesome. Jay, how are you?
Hey man, I'm doing well. You know what I mean? I'm just tired from the Christmas season, but definitely blessed to continue to go into the new year healthy, happy, and everybody's good. Back to school today and virtual, so that's a good thing. But back to school, just back on the grind, man. God definitely got some projects, got some new news, got some projects coming up, so I'm excited to get this year started. You know what I mean?
Are they going to be personal projects, like work projects, or they just stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I got some work projects.
Okay.
I start my new duties starting Wednesday, so I'm
that's
excited
awesome.
about
That's
that.
awesome.
You know what I mean? But then we're also we're gonna be moving soon. Let's get it and everything. We moving, but we could talk off camera with that. But
All
we're
right.
moving. We moving on up.
Sounds
a little
good.
bit, you know what I'm
Sounds good.
saying? So it's good though.
Yeah, sounds good. Like I said, it's we are also a shout out to our camera woman who's back with us.
Yes.
You know,
Now she can get loud.
I
right?
was gonna say. Shout out and back with us. We are happy to have her back.
yes.
So we appreciate her very
Yes,
much.
absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, just right off the bat, I think that the biggest thing that's been on the topic of today's sports has been the wrap up the Eagles season and the way it wrapped up yesterday. Losing to the Washington Redskins to give the Redskins a division in a way that was very controversial. I know that a lot of people feel as though the Eagles tanked the game last night and that they should have came out and played the game thoroughly through. I know there was a lot of flack from the Giants fans, the Giants Nation, and a lot of the people overall. I got two sides to this, and here's my feeling. You have the one side, I understand the Eagles' perspective of tanking, but my issue is this. If you're going to tank from the jump. Telling me that you want to get Nate Sudfeld in the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, to get him a look makes zero sense, and to me, Doug Peterson needs to just be ashamed for even saying that. And that's the one side of it. You should have played, Sudfeld from the start, because as soon as Hurts was playing well, that's when they pulled him. And you also saw, if you ask me, the demeanor from a lot of the offensive linemen, a lot of the team, that they didn't agree with it. If I could read their body language, they're looking at. I know Hurts didn't agree with it. I know guys like Jason Kelsey didn't agree with it. But the other end of the spectrum is that they should have played it all the way through, and that's where I understand the anger. I mean, there's 16 games on your NFL schedule, and every game is supposed to impact the other game. And at this point, the Eagles didn't do what's right in the league. And a lot of people say that they don't have reason to do it. They shouldn't have come out. But there's other teams that have sat there and done things. I know that, for instance, I was talking to people earlier today with the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers could have just laid down, played their third or fourth string quarterback. They didn't. They came out, they played hard. Yes, the Browns won, but they made them earn that victory. I just feel is that in this situation, I always you play to win the game.
Sure, absolutely.
The way it was. And my feeling is that the Eagles should have come out. The Eagles should have played Jalen Hurts the whole time. Because I also go back and I look at it, that these last 4 games, Jalen Hurts was supposed to start. You're supposed to see what you have. So in that situation where Jalen Hurts is playing a team that's fighting for their playoff spot, that's crunch time moments, you want to see what the kid can do, And so in my opinion, by pulling out Jalen Hurts, you did nothing to continue the narrative that you're trying to write. Coach Jay, who wants to take their thoughts on it?
Go ahead, Coach.
No, I agree with you, Randy. It's to me, it's a situation where when you think of tanking, everybody's first thought is the Sixers, and the Sixers never tried to lose a game. They just put players on the court that weren't capable of winning. So the guys that were on the field did everything on the court did everything they could do to try to win. And And it's not like they took players off the court when it got close or when we were going to win. That never happened. And that's what I feel like the Eagles did. When it was time to, okay, we might win this game, let's take these guys out. And that wasn't, like you said, it should have been something that was either done, these guys should have never played the game, which I still don't think would have been the right thing to do, but I think it would have been seen better if Hurts never played, if Kelsey never played,
exactly.
if they were never in the game. To pull them late in the game in a close game, I think that just sends a bad message. And also it shows guys wanted to play. Like you saw, Kelsey was, like you said, he was very animated on the sides. He wanted to be on the field. How do you take guys that have been with you for years, take them off the field? Like, how do you do that to guys? That, to me, that Doug's lost. Whoever comes back, they don't respect him.
Exactly, and that's my thought. And Jay, I'll get to you. Is just that whatever control that Doug maybe still had in the locker room, I think completely went out the window last night, and the respect level, because we've all sat there, we've all been on teams that were very poor and were the worst team in the league. You go out there, you still go out to win the game, and I understand they're saying about the draft pick, but you know what? You also have to look at. I don't care if we got the number 1 pick. The way that we've been drafting over the last few years, I don't care what number we're drafting.
Sure.
And like I said, you've got 16 games on the schedule, and that's what you need to play. You need to play hard. You need to go out there, and you need to see what you got. I mean, going into the game, they had all these guys on the quote-unquote injured list. So some of the guys were kind of questionable. They didn't put their top squad out there. But to me, you got to go out there and you got to play hard. You got to make the Washington Redskins earn that victory, and they didn't. And that's right now where I'm at with them. Jay, what's your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I think, let's just call it what it is. I don't like what they did. Like I thought that's like a sucker move to me. Like, you play 3 quarters and then all of a sudden now you want to tank the 4th quarter.
Yep.
Because I understand you might have bigger. It's a bigger agenda, right? So that's like a sucker move to me. That's almost, it's along the lines of like KD going to the Warriors. Not as strong as that, but those type of sucker moves to me. But I do want to spin it though a different way. To me, I think it showed that Doug is back and he's coming back next year. I think
we know that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it also showed that Carson's gone. So these are the different things that has kind of like, for him to make that move, that's management and him having a conversation beforehand saying, okay, this is the game plan, this is what we're going to do, okay? It's Dougie P being that, that corporate company guy.
That's what he is, yeah.
But he brought a championship too, so he's a championship company guy, okay? But him making that move right there, I just think that he let everybody know, I'll be back next year.
Well, no, but, I mean,
that's how I took it.
And he knew that. And I mean, it was kind of put out there beforehand that his job was safe, pretty much, for him coming back.
Well, he said it was safe. Nobody, I haven't heard no other reports.
Well, from inside talks, they were saying that Doug's going to come back. And the thing is too, and I think before the game yesterday, there was a lot of different things that were put out there. I mean, with Carson being inactive for the game, I mean that automatically tells me that Carson is not coming back at all because. And on top of that, today he didn't speak with the media, which, kind of says a lot to it. I mean, even like Zach Ertz, who's kind of up in the air whether he's going to come back or not, he said his goodbye to Philadelphia. I know this isn't a goodbye necessarily for Carson, but I still think that if his head was in Philadelphia, if his heart was still in Philadelphia, he would have spoken with the media. Right. I mean, but when it comes to the Eagles right now and moving forward on this season, they have so many holes to fill. And they have so many things to do that, this one particular situation of getting either the 6th pick or the 9th pick, to me, is not going to be the difference maker on this team.
I didn't think so either. I didn't think so either. I didn't like the move. I don't like the fact that he did that. I don't like the fact that Carson didn't speak today. I just found out today. You know what I'm saying? That he didn't speak to the media. I think it's just you're seeing a person's character unravel, okay? He's asking to be traded. I'm saying this and that. So what we're seeing is that when things don't go your way, you complain, you cry, you cower, you don't become and be that quintessential teammate that maybe other teammates need you to be, especially as a leader. So I'm just like, okay. So you're seeing a lot of things being exposed here. you know, of course, Dougie P saying that, oh, I just want to get Sudfeld some reps or whatever. I mean, like, you know, everybody knows he's lying. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean,
look at him and see him on
was
TV
all the
lying,
time.
like, you know. But where he gets caught up is that, you know, the analysts will keep asking questions like, hey, listen, this, that. Now, you know, everybody know when you tell one lie, you gotta keep lying.
Yeah.
You know, so now he don't really got the whole story straight. So now he's starting to fumble a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think it's whack. I think it's terrible. I think it was terrible to even like, I think I agree that if you were going to tank from the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't come all the way and then say, oh, okay.
Right. If they would have gone into the
That's
game and they would have and they said, look, Nate Sudfeld is our starting quarterback today, they've been like, all right, well, you know, the Eagles are pretty much throwing in the towel this game. Fine, they want to get their draft pick. But you come out there and, you know, you start Hurts once he's doing well. But at the end of the day, like I still said, your narrative was that you wanted to see over the last 4 games what you had in Jalen Hurts, and you pull him in what would have been probably the most highest pressure situation that he would have been in. You know, I mean, he was in other games with the Cowboys and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now you look at the situation. You know, going into next year, the Eagles are a mess. They're an absolute mess.
I mean, I think it depends on how you look at it, though, because I think he pretty much was saying, okay, because everybody's been saying for the last couple of weeks, it's Doug or Carson, right?
Yeah.
Doug or Carson. So
Well,
Doug
the
said
other
last
thing,
night.
the other person we haven't mentioned, though, and he really, if you ask me, he needs to is Howie. Howie needs
How's
to
that
go.
going to work? So he's
He's not going,
right?
but he's the one that needs to
Yeah,
really go.
but really, it's Doug or Carson.
Yeah,
right?
that's been
the narrative, right? So what did Doug say? I'm not going nowhere, Carson. Bye. So what's the sense in having to see what Hurts can do? We're going to see all that shit next season.
Well,
We don't need to see it no more.
I agree with that, but like, so, you know, professional athletes, in my dealings with them, they just need to know what's going on.
Sure.
Like, they're very like
creatures of habit.
like training them. How many do I have to make? It's not going to be like when I'm training a high school kid. We're going to do this till you get it right.
Right.
No. How many do I got to make?
Right.
How long are we going to do this?
Sure.
So like, I really believe if they would have come out and said, listen, guys, you're going to play 3 quarters, and you're going to sit the 4th. None of the outlash that we're seeing right now, backlash, would have happened because everybody would have known. Even if the fans didn't know, even if nobody else knew,
Right.
the players would have known. So now Kelsey isn't going crazy. Hurts isn't walking around. They're all like this.
Right.
They know what's coming.
But now, if they knew that, then I think that the game is probably a blowout.
Which is even better.
Which I guess so. I guess you're right.
Because
Yeah.
then the Giants fans are mad.
Yeah, I mean when you're
Right.
sitting there and you're
Right.
like,
Okay. That's a good point.
when you were
That's
looking,
a
like,
great
you're sitting there
point,
looking
yeah.
at that situation where it was the 4th down play and it was 17-14. You got to kick the field goal. Like they were like, oh, we going to go for it. You know, analytics tell you no. Like in that point in the game, take the points. That was the moment to me where I was like, they're throwing this game.
Right.
You know, and that was the moment that because Hurts was still in the game at that point, but I really said, okay, this is where they're going to throw the game. I mean, I know that we're looking at this from a big picture, and we're going to talk about it, I'm sure, more as the time comes and things develop. But the way that there's a lot of people, everyone has there, and you see it laid out of their ways that they would fix the Eagles. I mean, I think right now, like I've said it before in other shows, you know, I don't think there's any way that you bring back Carson to this organization. I don't think that the fan base will support him, you know, and which is going to be very hard because, you know, trading him or getting rid of him is going to be darn near impossible. So, I mean, you could go into the season, and if you look at it, too, Jalen Hurts hasn't done a whole lot over the last 4 games to make me feel that confident, like, you're the man. You know, he had the one great game against the New Orleans Saints, and that's because there was no film on him. But since then, his numbers have really not been good at all. So, you know, I look at it and I say, what are you going to do? I mean, you basically think, I feel, is that you go into next season and you sit the guys down and you say, listen, you know, Carson, you want your job back, come back and earn it. You know, Jalen, you want this starting job, you come out and you beat out Carson. And we'll worry about it from there. I'm making an open quarterback competition. The best quarterback wins it. That's what I do right now.
No, I agree. I agree. I think I just don't think Carson's game.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's the best move for the franchise, but I think that's going to take both Hurts and Carson being competitive about it, and I don't think Carson wants anything.
I think Hurts is.
Yeah,
I
don't think
because
Carson-
I think Hurts is sitting there. Hurts is playing with house money,
Yeah, he's
you
got
know,
nothing to
because
lose.
Hurts realizes, like, even as a young quarterback, he's got the pedigree, he's got the history. He knows that teams are going to want him. Teams are going to take a flyer on him, whether it's not the Eagles or not. Like, you know, a team might say to the Eagles, like this offseason even, we'll give you a second-round pick for Jalen Hurts. We'll give you a third-round pick for Jalen Hurts, because we saw some potential in him. And there's teams that need quarterbacks, and they can make that move. So, like I said, Jalen Hurts is open to it. I don't believe Carson is open to it. And it's just such a challenging situation. I really lost respect for Carson for not talking to the media today. Zach Ertz could have done the same thing, and he didn't. Zach Ertz came out and he said, "Thank you for Philadelphia. Thank you for the time here. It's the best city to play for," because he does have one more year left on his contract, but he didn't get the long-term extension he was looking for, and which he pretty much earned. He earned it more than Carson Wentz earned a contract.
Sure.
So that to me is being a legit athlete and being
A teammate.
the teammate
Right.
you need to be.
Especially in having, because that's his boy. Zach is his boy. So
Yeah.
you would even think that you would even just speak, just because you see your man doing it. Like if I see my man doing something, I know I'm feeling strongly about something, but then I'm like, all right, but my man, it's almost like the KD Kyrie situation, right?
Right.
So like Kyrie, like, nah, I'm not speaking to the media. I'm burning sage. You know what I'm saying? Kevin, like, well, yo, I felt good. I'm getting back to better, blah blah. He's speaking. So like you always want to be in unison with your teammates. So if you're not in unison with your teammates, then you're like a clanging cymbal. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Carson is. He's just a clanging cymbal, making noise. He's like crying like a little baby. You're seeing what happens after 11-2 when things don't go your way. That's what you're seeing.
You are, and I think we're seeing a lot more of the fact that he can't handle the limelight, he can't handle the big stage. And I've talked about it in other episodes, is that he comes from a small school. He comes from a place where he was always the man. Carson, whether I'm sure at his high school in North Dakota, he was the man. And North Dakota, he won the championship.
Right.
So
Most NFL players are the man, though.
yeah, no, they are. But
Right.
I'm saying, like, depending where they come from. Like, if you're the man at Ohio State, it's different than being the man at North Dakota.
I got you.
Like,
That's true.
you're
That's a
used
good
to
point.
you're
That's a good
used
point.
to some limelight.
Okay.
So for Carson, it's like he's not used to this. He's not used to the pressure. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I'm excited to see about it. I think personally, if you want to even take a second to talk about what they should do with the draft, I think the Eagles need to trade that draft pick for multiple draft picks so they can fill some holes. Because if they really want to work the salary cap out, they need to rebuild this team through the draft. That's what they need to do.
Well, the only problem I have with that is that their history of draft picks.
Yes.
So I think I'd rather have the number 6 pick and get a top 10 guy than get the number 20 and 27 pick and end up with 2 guys that should be second rounders.
Yeah, and that's true. The thing is, like I said, it's because to me, I just look at it also like you said. The Eagles have no history of drafting. Like the Eagles should have DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson on each side of the line. It's just and it's funny because even I was Howie was getting roasted today during his press conference, and he was being asked about Justin Jefferson, who set the rookie record for receiving yards, and talk about how they drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. And he's like, well, the same old Howie response. We really believe in who we picked, and like again the PC answer. And obviously you can't sit here and say we made a mistake, because that's throwing Jalen Reagor under the bus. But I would like to see a little more accountability of, we have to do a better job of evaluation. Maybe that we need to go back, even something that's a little PC. We have to go back and see that maybe our analytics needs some adjusting. Something where you can indirectly say that we screwed up.
I think there's power in that whole story or narrative that's being told that Carson is Laurie's boy. That's his guy. I think there's power in that because they they drafted Hurts last year, right?
Yes.
So that was probably Roseman, Peterson. That's probably them understanding that, hey, listen, you know what? We're not really feeling Carson. Like, maybe after we gave him this money, we probably realized we made a mistake or whatever. So we need to kind of shore that up. So I don't know if you really see, like, Reagor. I'm not saying Rager's up there with DK Metcalf or whatever his name is.
He is not.
Right, he's not. But you don't really get to see what he is because you haven't really had
Yeah,
a quarterback that was able to kind of
these
unlock him.
these
though.
are the
Like
guys.
Justin Jefferson, who's his quarterback?
Justin Jefferson, he got Kirk Cousins on the ball.
Coach Cousins
who
is
So
serviceable.
going into the season,
But Carson
everybody
Wentz
said
should
Carson
be
Wentz is
better than
Oh,
Kirk
absolutely.
Cousins.
But
Now, on top of this, though,
I don't know now.
You are right. Let's go back to when you talk about this narrative, and it goes back to even a few years back before we're talking about Donovan McNabb. After Donovan, Jeffrey Lurie was on record of always saying you need to find yourself a franchise quarterback if you're really going to build a team. And he was putting that pressure on Howie Roseman, to make it happen.
Right.
And then Howie did make it happen by going and drafting Carson Wentz. So, that narrative, and it was, you brought up the name Jeffrey Lurie, and I know it's not often, but they were even saying it, and listen, Jeffrey, if you're listening, you need
Right.
to, I want to hear from Jeffrey Lurie. I want to hear from the top management and the top guy in the organization of where his head is at, because, that's who's directing traffic, and that's who we're not hearing from.
Right. I think that you could get like a trade possibly for Carson, but then they would have to pay that money. And I don't know if another team is going to be willing to pay that money for Carson. How much does he owe next year?
Next,
30.
yeah, next year he's a $32 billion cap hit, $31 million cap hit.
Right.
You're going to have to get somebody.
You could
to
buy him out though, right?
No, there's no buyout.
There's no buyout.
He's got another $90 million or so guaranteed. He's at least, and that's the thing. It was the big contract. Now you could go. You're going to have dead money one way or the other. Like if you cut him, you're going to have dead money. So if you can work out something with another team to say, let's say he's making 30 next year, and you guys are on the bill for, 20 of it. That might be something.
Still
you can
better
do.
than you know what I'm saying. I just again, like I said, I just wish that. I think, to be honest with you, I think Peterson and Roseman kind of come together and see where they made a mistake. They made a mistake with Carson. They should have sat Carson down a long time ago. I think you probably could have saved the season if you had sat him down. I think it was just too much him and hawing, not knowing what to do, not I guess staying loyal to somebody that brought you a Super Bowl but didn't really bring you a Super Bowl. I don't know. I think the loyalty is an example, and I think actually, ladies and gentlemen, it's a good life lesson when loyalty can go wrong. That's a great life lesson.
Yeah,
Like you could be too loyal to a fault.
for sure.
And now, what I'm saying? I think that's what happened. I think that the Eagles, I think Peterson, I think it was just too loyal to a fault. Clearly he was not running Doug's stuff.
No,
Clearly.
he
I
was.
think they had to let that play out to kind of to show, okay, this isn't going to work. Even though I may have known in week 4 this is not going to work.
I gotta still.
I gotta make it known. I gotta drive this point
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
that this isn't going to
Ain't
work.
Exactly.
gonna work.
Now, Marcus Shane, who's one of our followers, said that you had an idea on tanking, that you had put out there. For the NFL to stop tanking.
Oh, well, I don't know if it was. I was talking about the NBA. I don't know if I talked about the NFL. But one thing
It was just tanking in general.
Okay.
He thought it was a great idea.
So
I
one thing I saw is instead of how did it go? Okay, so you have your teams that make the playoffs, and then whoever the worst team is gets the first pick.
Right.
Forget that. Do it the other way around. So your teams make the playoffs. Whoever the first team that missed the playoffs gets the first pick.
Oh wow. Okay.
Whoever the second team that missed the playoffs gets the second
Oh
pick.
yeah.
And then it goes all the way down, then
Yeah.
back to the teams that make the
Yeah.
playoffs. It was really more for like the NBA, so that because
It gets them to stop
it
doing
gets,
it. Right.
so now everybody's still trying to make
Right.
that playoffs. Everybody's still trying to move up
Right.
instead of moving down.
Right. No, and it's interesting because if the Eagles, I like that idea, but I was thinking about this. If the Eagles were in the playoffs and they played their starters for the first 3 quarters and then sat them, nobody would be saying nothing, right?
Right, but they would never
Right.
do that.
But I'm just saying, but
No,
nobody.
you're saying if they had clinched the playoffs?
If they, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody would, so
Yeah.
it's just a different narrative of them losing
Because you're
and
saving them for something.
You're
You don't want
saving-
anybody to
Right,
get hurt.
exactly.
Right.
People can say I
It's a
understand.
different reason,
Right.
right?
And I would even I guess thinking about it more, if I was Doug or if I was Howard or whoever, I would have gone to my key guys, Jason Kelsey, Zach Ertz, and do you guys want to play?
They have a conversation, right?
Like, here's what we're thinking.
Right, but
Do
just-
you
yeah,
want to play?
Yeah.
Because some of those guys, like, if I'm not on contract, if I'm a free agent, I'm not playing
Right.
because I'm not getting hurt.
Right. Right.
We have nothing to play for.
Mhm.
But now, if I'm, if I have another year on my contract, I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm playing. Like, so I would have had that conversation.
So Jay, going back because one of our viewers is watching. Said that he said to me, you said that Carson's not a character guy, as far as a team guy.
No, it's not.
And then elaborate more on that about why you feel that way.
You're seeing it unravel. You're seeing a lack of humility. You're seeing how he's not able to. Listen. If I make a mistake, I'm messing up out there. Okay, listen, you know what? Listen, I'm sorry about how I've been doing, blah, blah. But you know what? I got to get in the gym. You've seen it with the Sixers and even with, RJ. I can't stand RJ Barrett. But you know what? Yo, he went like 0 for 9 or something from the 3-point line. But you know what he did after the game? He was out there practicing his game, working on his game. Okay, so we're not seeing that type of accountability, self accountability from Carson. And then now Jalen Hurts gets the chance, right? Now he comes on, and now he's hot, right? He's hot. You know what I mean? He's on fire, right? In the middle of him making one of the biggest start of his career, now he comes out complaining and whining on the eve of him doing the night before, the day of. He's complaining, and he's been complaining ever since. Now he wants to be traded. Now he wants this for what? Like, yo, you was playing like garbage. And because they sat your ass down, now all of a sudden you want to get traded? How about you look within and say, well, what else can I do? You paying me like the franchise. You put the pressure on me like the franchise, but you can't step up like the franchise. It just goes to show you that some people can handle the heat and others need to stay the hell out the kitchen.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, and I get that, and I understand your view.
After that was a mic drop, if you want.
I mean, that was, man. I mean, there was no follow up to that.
No follow up.
You know, that was no follow up. I mean, and I get that. I mean, I think more people are, sitting here and seeing that too. And I think that one of the other things too, and they were talking about it, was that I remember a couple press conferences ago when he said, I'm not changing. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to continue to be this guy. I'm going to continue to be this guy. Even if you don't plan on changing, at least come out and say the PC answer. And that's where I think people, too, were starting to be like, Carson, maybe you're a selfish guy. You're not going to change for the team. Look, I'm still going to go on record and tell you that I don't think that he was given 100% of a situation to succeed. I'm going to tell you that because there wasn't the pieces put around him. I would love to have seen what would happen if there was different play calling and if he had more playmakers around him. I still don't blame Carson.
Yeah, it's every quarterback, man.
Yes. But I'm saying the Eagles franchise, to an extent, also failed Carson, and I will still tell you that they did.
How? He gave him $100 million.
But they still did not draft DK Metcalf. They did not draft Justin Jefferson. You knew you needed receivers for this team. You didn't put them around him.
Okay.
You had a running back in Miles Sanders who was not given the ball. There's plenty of reasons, too, that Carson was not given an opportunity to win.
Do you think there's what? Give me a percentage of fault that Carson Wentz is no longer the quarterback of the Philadelphia.
That's a great question.
A percentage that is Carson's fault, and a percentage.
No, I'm gonna tell you this. Right now, the Eagles' failure this year was more Carson than the organization. I will tell you that. But I don't think that this narrative can be said without also talking about the fact that there was still a part of it that he was not given the support around him.
Well, I mean, I think in any relationship, when things fail, things happen, right? So it's both parties' fault.
Right.
Right. But if we were to have a ratio, I'm saying at least 80 Carson, 20 Eagles.
See, I would say that it's more. I think the Eagles need to be held more accountable.
Right.
And I think that
You want 55-45.
no,
right?
I'm gonna go this season. I'm gonna go 65-35. And I'll say that it was 65% Carson, 35% the playmaking and what they put around Carson.
And I agree. I agree. Like the
And
Eagles,
injuries.
The Eagles did not do a good job putting things around Carson. There's no question about that. But Carson's play still is not acceptable, even if I don't care who's around you. Like the way he's acting and what things that you're doing right now.
Right.
It's just like oh, everything got better all of a sudden when Hurts became like no, nothing changed. So like, and I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Hurts. I think he's a better quarterback. Now, whatever's going on with him is that's on him. Like I don't know what the issue is.
And here's the thing: it's like now, so if we're talking about today in the last 4 to 6 weeks, it's very hard for me to support Carson in anything that he's done because it really, like I said, but not just play, but his responses and now the way what he's doing with the organization and the way that he's responding. It's hard for me to really say any kind of support. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think that, like I said, we have such a long off season, and but I mean, with you know, a lot of what's going on, I still think that you're going to hear more about this tanking issue. Obviously, when when you go to the draft, that's going to come up. It's going to be, oh, the Eagles with the number 6 pick, the controversial pick because they could have been number 9. So, we'll see what happens. And I just think that the Eagles have to have some kind of direction, and that's what they have to do. If they don't have a direction in this offseason, it's not going to change. And it needs to start, not necessarily offensively, but it needs to also start on the defensive side of the ball. Their secondary needs to improve. They got to improve the offensive line. I mean, there's a lot of boxes to tick off, and they have to make those moves.
Yeah, it's a lot that needs to be done. I don't think it's something that can be done in one off season, especially with the way they are with the cap right now. But yeah, I mean that's a whole lot of stuff we got to get into with that. Who's coming back on the defense? Who's the defensive coordinator? All that kind of stuff's gonna have to be figured out, and that's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. At the end of the day, I just want to see. I want to see Hurts get his due. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him get his due. I think that Peterson probably made that move. Like, hey, listen, you know what? Let me get this other scrub in here so that he could get his little shine for a little bit or whatever. And as soon as he come in,
he got his shine on his right ring finger.
Right. I mean, what's on his right?
That was Super Bowl ring.
Oh.
So I mean, he got his shine.
Right.
Nate Sudfeld, listen.
Well, he was a critical piece to the team. Though.
Shut up.
No, he was though. Every member on the team was critical.
I agree. Everybody from the practice squad down.
Right,
But I'm saying, when people talk about we want to give Nate an opportunity, Nate's collected money, collected a check, collected a Super Bowl ring to hold a clipboard. I don't think you owe anything to him. But with that said, I know that we have a Giants fan on the line to join us to get some perspective from the Giants fan in their thoughts on the game yesterday and the tank job or not tank job. I know we got Frankie on the line.
Is Frankie there? Wait a minute. We may not have Frankie. All right, I'll tell you what, let's go to commercial and we come back with Frankie.
All right, when we come back from Let's Get It, we're going to be having our phone call, get a little more information, some insight. You're watching Let's Get It. We'll be right back after this.